Why do so many people know so little about the Black Choctaw Indians? Let's uncover their incredible story together. The Black Choctaw, descendants of the Native Americans of Louisiana and Mississippi tribes, survived the brutal Trail of Tears and settled in Louisiana. Known for their rich culture and fierce community spirit, they continue to preserve their language, traditions, and history. Join us as we celebrate the legacy of the Black Choctaw Indians. Like, subscribe, and let's keep exploring together. Have you ever wondered about the complex origins of the Black Choctaw Indians? The Chata tribe, a group of Choctaw Indians, is centered in Slidell, Louisiana. They are descendants of the Choctaw people who were part of the 5 civilized tribes and were forced to relocate during the Trail of Tears. The Chata tribe is also known to have descendants in other parts of the United States, including 29 states. The Choctaw people, including the Chata, were originally mound builders and had a rich history in the southeastern United States. They were known for their agriculture, fishing, and hunting, and they also practiced sports that often replaced war. Forced relocation. In the early 19th century, the Choctaw, along with other tribes, were forcibly removed from their lands during the Indian Removal Act. This resulted in the Trail of Tears, a devastating journey that led to the deaths of many Choctaw people. The Chata tribe in Louisiana. The Chata tribe in Louisiana are descendants of those who remained or returned to the area after the removal. They continue to maintain their tribal identity and culture. Hurricane Katrina and community preparedness. The Chata tribe in St. Tammany Parish has been actively involved in community preparedness, particularly after Hurricane Katrina. Chief Elwin Warhorse Gillum of the tribe developed a program called the Community Preparedness Response Network, CPRN, to assist low-income communities in developing their own emergency plans. Cultural significance. The Chata tribe continues to preserve their cultural heritage, including their language, traditions, and spiritual beliefs. They are working to educate the public about their history and culture, and to promote understanding and respect. Chief Elwin Warhorse Gillum is chief of Choctaw Nation and the chief of the Chata tribe. With prior conversations, the Cookin' with Chief host has stated the importance of reclaiming ancestral lands. The longevity of tribal identity, along with restoration and seeking justice, is part of the core values of what makes the Chata who they are. The Chata tribe wanted to extend a heartfelt thank you to the state officials of Louisiana, who took the time to respond to the call of assistance due to the cemetery being in such disrepair and neglect from the non-caretakers previously, to the point that some of the remains were coming out of their caskets and not resting in peace. Now they can again find the tranquility and care forever with those who are the original inhabitants. Chief Warhorse said as she explored the area from the ground level, she then asked for aerial views and immediately was astounded by the heart-shaped location. It was not only spiritually moving, but a clear symbol of the love that those voices wanted to share as reciprocity. The Black Choctaws, or Choctaw Freedmen, is where they lied and said they were descendants of enslaved people of African descent, who were part of the Choctaw Nation in the 19th century. This is not true. They were POWs, prisoners of wars. The colonizers still keep promoting this slave narrative and everybody came from Africa narrative. They lie and say they were held as slaves by members of the Choctaw tribe, their own people, primarily in what is now Oklahoma, and later became citizens of the Choctaw Nation after the Civil War. This is false. The $5 Indians were giving land by the U.S. government in Oklahoma to cover up the truth about the original dark-skinned Native Americans, who had been reclassified as Black, Negroes, and colored folks. Then they were reclassified as African Americans to promote the false slave narrative. They lie and say the Black Choctaw Nation was forcibly removed from the southeast to Indian Territory. Present-day Oklahoma, during the Trail of Tears, their enslaved people accompanied them. This is a lie. The real Chata people never left their land. They forgot who they were and reclassified them as Blacks, Negroes, and colored folks. After the Civil War and the so-called emancipation of slaves from Russia, the Choctaw Nation, under the terms of the Treaty of Fort Smith, 1866, were robbed out of the rest of their birthrights. They moved the $5 Indians to Oklahoma and changed the name to Choctaw Nation from Chata. The Chata people are a daughter tribe to the Washita, Ouachita, and Chitimacha Nation. the Chata Indians, who originally inhabited the Mississippi River Delta area of south-central Louisiana. The Washita, Ouachita, and Chitimacha Nation are a sovereign state of Native Americans. The Ouachita were a Native American tribe who lived in the lower reaches of the Ouachita River in northeastern Louisiana and along the Black River. They were loosely affiliated with the Caddo Confederacy. Their land is compassed from the coast of Georgia to Washington state, of 31 states of the middle of the USA to the Ouachita River. Also, what is called the Louisiana Purchase. The word Ouachita has been interpreted as big hunting ground in Choctaw and Silver Water in other languages. The name Ouachita, which is also the name of the river and the town of Washita, Oklahoma. The Ouachita people, a Native American tribe, lived in northeastern Louisiana along the Ouachita River. Their traditional homelands also included the Black River and the area around modern-day Monroe. The Ouachita River, Ouachita Parish, and the Ouachita Mountains were all named after this tribe. The Ouachita people primarily inhabited the area around the lower reaches of the Ouachita River and along the Black River, which is part of northeastern Louisiana. The Ouachita River, Ouachita Parish in Louisiana, and the Ouachita Mountains in Oklahoma and Arkansas were all named after the Ouachita tribe. The Washita Nation is a sovereign United States. They assert descent from the Ancient Ones, the original inhabitants of North America, and hold the belief that they are not subject to federal, state, or municipal laws. The Washita Nation did not have a single name for the region before European contact. Their territory was marked by 4 prominent trees, as indicated in their oral history. They may also be known as the Yesito. The French, who established trading posts in the area, encountered the Ouachita and adopted the name for the river, mountains, and eventually the parish. The Ouachita people and the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians are distinct Native American groups, with family from the daughter line histories and territories. The Ouachita historically lived in the lower reaches of the Ouachita River in Louisiana and were related to the Caddo Confederacy. The Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians are a federally recognized tribe located primarily in Mississippi, with their tribal headquarters in Choctaw, Mississippi. While the Ouachita assimilated into the Caddo Nation by the 1720s, the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians have maintained their separate identity and are the only federally recognized Native American tribe in Mississippi. The Chata Indians, also known as the Choctaw, are a Native American people originally from the southeastern United States, primarily Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. They are one of the 5 civilized tribes and have a rich history of agriculture, trade, and warfare. The Choctaw have a long history in the southeastern United States, with ancestral homelands in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. They were known for their skilled farming and trading, developing large surpluses of corn and other crops. Choctaw culture has evolved over time, influenced by European and American interactions, but also maintaining traditions from their pre-colonial past. They are known for their strong matrilineal kinship system. In the new $5 Indian tribes, they have incorporated European American lifestyles into their society. The Choctaw are now represented by 2 federally recognized tribes, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. A significant part of Choctaw history includes their so-called removal from their ancestral lands during the Trail of Tears in the 1830s. Many Choctaw people were forced to relocate to Oklahoma, while some remained in Mississippi and other areas. Keep in mind this is game. We relocated them or misplaced game. They, the Chahta people, are still on their land. Today, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, mostly made of $5 tribal members, is the 3rd largest federally recognized tribe in the United States, with over 225,000 tribal members, with most of them looking European. The Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians also has a significant population and cultural presence in Mississippi. The Choctaw, Chata Choctaw pronunciation, Tzata, people are one of the indigenous peoples of the southeastern woodlands of the United States, originally based in what is now Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The Choctaw language is a Western Muskogean language. Today, Choctaw people are enrolled in 3 federally recognized tribes: the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, Mississippi, Band of Choctaw Indians, Gina Band of Choctaw Indians in Louisiana. Choctaw descendants are also members of other tribes. The Choctaw language belongs to the Muskogean language family. The Choctaw language was well known among the American frontiersmen of the early 19th century. In 1870, a Christian missionary and fluent Choctaw speaker, Cyrus Byington, published a Choctaw dictionary grammar of the Choctaw language. Revised editions include contributions from American historian Henry S. Halbert, who was also a fluent Choctaw speaker, and anthropologist John R. Swanton. Choctaw, or Chata as it is called in the native language, is closely related to the Chickasaw language. Some linguists consider Choctaw and Chickasaw to be dialects of a singular original language. This idea is supported by Choctaw and Chickasaw origin stories, which both state that the Choctaw and Chickasaw people arose out of a singular ancestral people. The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma currently offers courses in the Choctaw language. Choctaw is regularly spoken as part of daily life on the Mississippi Choctaw Reservation. Although Choctaw, the written Choctaw language, is based upon the English version of the Roman alphabet and was developed in conjunction with the Civilization Program of the United States in the early 19th century. Byington's alphabet and a version modified by John R. Swanton is seen here. The narrative of this remarkable group is a testament to the rich and intertwined histories of foundational Black Native Americans. Their story, however, is far from monolithic, with individual and family histories painting a diverse picture of their origins. They tell the lie that some foundational Black Americans became an integral part of the Chata Nation through the institution of slavery by the 19th century. They lie and say that the Chata, like many southeastern tribes, had incorporated chattel slavery into their economic systems, mirroring the structures of southern plantations. This adoption of slavery was a strategic move to assimilate into the Moorish European colonizers' culture, maintain economic stability, and wield political leverage against the pressures of Western expansion. You see, the thing is, we had no slavery over here before the Moors in the Americas. The Moors came up with the slave idea in 900 BC. We were over here 10,000 BC, yet it's crucial to remember that the Chata had their own pre-existing tradition of incorporating war captives either as POWs or adopted community members, a practice that predates and differs from Moorish European chattel slavery. But then there were other individuals of Black Indian descent like Mary Duncan, who traced their lineage within the Chata Nation to a time before the institution of slavery. In a 2004 interview, Mary Duncan, a member of the Chata Nation in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, stated that there were many Black Indians in the Americas before the arrival of the Pilgrims who had dark skin. She emphasized that their fight was for citizenship as Black Indians, not African Americans tracing their roots back to Native American ancestors, rather than African ones. So these histories suggest that the relationship between foundational Black Americans and Native Americans was not solely defined by the oppressive bonds of slavery. Instead, it was also characterized by mutual social and cultural exchanges, and possibly early pre-Columbian contact between the two groups. So it's clear that the origins of the Black Chata Indians are far from simple, with a history that is rich and multifaceted. But before we get into the rest of this video, we want to take a quick second to tell you about our special Native American Chief School playlist. There were Black people in the Americas before Columbus. Stick with us on our knowledge-filled journey into true ancient American history, dive deep into history with us, and uncover truths that challenge. Click the link in the description for full Native American Chief School and grab your free classes. Now let's get back to the video now. Let's delve into the role of the Dawes Roll Commission in the late 19th century. This organization was established with a mission to negotiate with the 5 civilized tribes, including the Chata, to dissolve tribal governments and a lot of tribal lands to individual members, some who look like us, but wasn't us. In doing so, the Dawes Commission implemented a system that strictly categorized individuals as either Chata by blood or freedman. This binary classification disregarded the complex realities of mixed heritage and long-standing integration within the tribe. It failed to account for individuals like Mary Duncan, who traced their lineage to the Chata Nation long before the institution of slavery. This bureaucratic approach overlooked the nuanced histories of those who didn't fit neatly into these categories. It ignored the fact that many foundational Black Americans were the Chata Nation and had not become part of the Chata Nation through enslavement, but through pre-existing traditions of incorporating tribes. The Dawes Commission's policies extended far beyond land allotment. They effectively erased the multifaceted identities of Black Choctaw people's land and birthrights, reducing their rich histories to mere tick boxes on a form of paper. This lack of recognition had profound implications, leading to legal and social challenges that persisted well into today. The Dawes Commission's policies had lasting effects, leading to so-called legal robbery of Choctaw people's land. Despite the passage of time, the struggle for recognition and equality within the tribal nations continues to this day. For many descendants of the Black Choctaw, this struggle is often centered around the contentious issue of blood quantum and tribal citizenship. Historically, tribal sovereignty has been a pillar of Native American identity. But what happens when this historical tribal sovereignty clashes with the rights of descendants who may not meet the current criteria of blood lineage to be a $5 Indian? These descendants have historical and familial ties to the tribe that run just as deep. This is the reality for many Black Choctaw. While they can trace their lineage back to the original members of the Chata Nation, they're reclassified as blacks, Negroes, and colored and beat over the head with the "you were a slave. You came from Africa on a slave ship, that's your heritage," which often means they do not meet the strict criteria set out by the created USA Corps' $5 Indian tribes. The slave narrative is false. This has led to a long-standing debate over the legitimacy of blood quantum as a determining factor for tribe membership, and yet despite these challenges, the descendants of the Black Choctaw remain undeterred. They continue to fight for their birthrights, recognition, and place within their ancestral tribe. They continue to shed light on the nuanced and often overlooked intersections of foundational Black Native American histories. While the journey has been complex and fraught with challenges, the descendants of the Black Choctaw Indians continue to fight for their birthrights. Trust us when we say this journey through America's hidden Black past is just beginning. If this glimpse into a world lost to time has captured your imagination, hit that like button for us. Let's keep going. This is a speech from Chief Elwin Warhorse Gillum of the Chata Nation. She said, "All glory go to the Creator. It's an honor to be here today, but I love the theme, America Healing. But first, let's think about something. Where did America come from? Have it always been America? Or was it just created to be America? Who are the real Americans? America keep changing and changing and changing. Who are the real Americans? We were and are sovereign nations. Categorizing us beneath the multicultural umbrella obscures our status as sovereign nations and leads people to think that we want to be Americans just like everybody else. In some ways we do, and some ways we don't. For the most part, that multicultural umbrella is about people of color. We, indigenous peoples, might be people of color, but we are first and foremost citizens of sovereign nations. Some of us look the way people think Indians should look, but some of us don't. Some of us look like we ought to be called African American instead, and some of us look white. What we look like doesn't matter. Some might think that the "we are not people of color" statement is racist. I hope you see it isn't about race. It is about sovereignty. Any nation, the US or Canada or Spain, has the power to decide who its citizens are and what criteria they will use to make such determinations. We might not like the criteria, and we can work to change that criteria, but until it is changed, it is pretty much what we abide by. Indigenous nations in the United States also have that power. Most people in the United States don't know that, because most people in the United States think we vanished, that we came to the end of the trail. We're still here, however, and when we see errors, some of us point them out. If you were in France and someone said something incorrect about the United States, you might speak up and correct that error. By the way, Chief Warhorse isn't the only person to correct that error. President Obama made an error too in his children's book, wherein he writes about 13 groundbreaking Americans. Among those 13 is Sitting Bull. One of Sitting Bull's grandsons said emphatically that Sitting Bull did not consider himself American. That error is made a lot because people don't know enough about who we were and who we are. Given Racialicious's audience, I'm glad to see the conversation because having it creates the opportunity for knowledge to be gained and spread. Chief Warhorse has organized a group of the original Chata people who share the same fight for birthrights. They're trying to get recognized, but they've got a long way to go. As some people pointed out, it is a difficult process, but an important one. Among other things, it protects all of you from being ripped off by USA Corp. Do you know about the Indian Arts and Crafts Act? It is a federal law that says that items marketed as being American Indian must be supported by documentation that the maker is a citizen of a federally recognized tribe. There's a lot of pushback on that law because a lot of people who are native can't get enrolled due to the way that a tribe's criteria is laid out. It isn't fair, as many point out, but changes can be made to those criterions, and many tribes are making those changes, and many have other ways of recognizing individuals who don't fit the criteria for enrollment. The thing is, there's a lot of hucksters out there claiming American Indian identity. Do you remember when that Sacagawea coin came out? There was a group in the Midwest who said they were a tribe, and they marketed a small bag in which you could store your coin. When they were called out as fake, they had to return the money to people who bought those bags. I didn't bookmark the page. I'll look for it. But in the meantime, if anyone finds it, please let me know. And do you remember that group that said it was a tribe and was selling citizenship to people in other countries, particularly Mexico? Those individuals bought that citizenship and came to the US only to find out they'd been the victims of a fraud. Smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. Lastly, for more information about the names and subjects mentioned in this video. Get your links in the description for more related videos. Stay curious and keep exploring.